The worst feeling is when you find something that could have saved you hundreds of hours of time and headaches. Once you get this piece of gear or software, you're left wondering why have you not heard of it sooner? And the truth is, a lot of audio companies simply don't market well enough. And we as audio engineers have to search the depths of the audio oceans to find these miraculous tools. In this video, I'm gonna show you some plugins you probably haven't heard of that's gonna make mixing a whole lot more fun. This first one does something that I wish I would have had much earlier in my career. When I started out in audio, I began working on rap and pop recordings. It was a lot of fun. The only problem was, it was sometimes extremely difficult to get the loops to fit just right. The artist would want the kick and the snare to pop through, and I need to add samples to the track to help augment the sound. And if the song had another producer, I had to clear with them first so I wasn't destroying their original vision. Which is why I love Drums SSX. It very easily helps you separate the kit pieces in a drum loop. And another cool way to use this plugin if you work with bands is you can use it to separate the drum tracks within the overheads. From there, you can render each kit piece on its own track to recreate the kit with your own samples for sample replacement or enhancing. The name of the game with drums is to enhance the punchiness of them, and a tool that just about every engineer uses in every production is honestly one I can't stand. It's a pretty controversial take on a tool that dates back to the Stone Age. I've always found this particular tool difficult to get musically right in a production, and I know it's because of the nature of the instrument or instruments it's commonly used on. Using a standard gate on live drums always sounds too choppy. The reason is that with drums, a drum shell is getting information from every other shell or cymbal in the kit, introducing several different frequency ranges. And the bleed is crucial to the overall sound of the kit being natural-ish. And there has always been a compromise with gates on live kits because it's listening to the entire frequency spectrum, which is what makes multi-band gate such a cool plugin. It gives you 3 bands that focus on the low, mid, and top end for gating. You retain everything you want while getting rid of the bleed you don't want in the amount that sounds most natural to you. This gets a much cleaner, gated sound and overall punchier drum mix. This is why multi-band processing is such an incredible superpower to have, like your Wanda in Civil War, but if you're not careful, this superpower can cause some real damage. But sometimes you want the power of multiband without the restraints of just using one plugin. Like what if you have a synth track that you just want to saturate the low mids for beef and some reverb or delay in the top end? Typically you duplicate the track and process away, but if you're not careful, the mix gets muddy real fast. And if you're using EQ filters as crossovers and have to keep manually adjusting through the mix, it's a pain in the ass. Clevgrand's Gaffle eliminates this step. Duplicate the track you want multiband processing on. Add an instance of Gaffle and assign it to a group within the plugin, and anytime you need to adjust the crossover, all instances in that group will follow. I wish everything was that easy. And speaking of easy as Pro Q3 is, I have a little love-hate relationship with it. I know. How can I say that? Truth is, for how great Pro Q3 is, there is one feature that it doesn't have that I really wish they would add or update. It's something that makes such a huge difference in a mix to make decisions quickly. It's part of why console mixers can mix so fast compared to a lot of in-the-box mixers. And I found one plugin that can give you a similar type of control that is what allows console mixers to make decisions so quickly. You can have multiple instances of this plugin in the session and alter your EQ decisions quickly with ease. DDMF's 2EQ Pro looks like a regular old EQ, but besides not burning a hole in your wallet like Pro Q3, you have multi-track control within the plugin. Throw an instance of 2EQ Pro on every track and you can make EQ decisions on the spot. No more opening and closing plugin windows to make EQ choices. And since we're talking about EQ, filtering is such an important way to control the low end of an instrument. But there is one problem when it comes to bass filtering, especially high-pass filtering on bass. Bass isn't a linear instrument like a kick drum, where the fundamental stays in the same range every time it's hit. Bass moves according to the notes of the progression, and because of this, filtering for low end can be a pain in the ass. To do this right, you have to move your filter around during the mix with automation to get the sub-lows in check correctly while still getting the right amount of weight, which is why Iceberg Audio Subcut is a must for every mixer. On the surface, it seems like a high-pass filter plugin that goes up to 220 Hz, but this filter plugin is designed with low end in mind to treat it as musically as possible, but its real superpower is in its auto button, which will listen to the incoming audio and the filtering will automatically follow the bass to retain as much low end possible while keeping the sub-lows as clean as possible. The next one is actually 2 pieces of software from the same company that have been game changers for my workflow. One of them can find the answers to a question I always ask myself in every mix. It helps me when I have those dreaded sessions where I have to touch up the tuning of an instrument or vocal. But this can be difficult for engineers just starting out. Their ears aren't just as developed, which is why beginning and experienced engineers alike will love Mixed in Key Live. It's an incredible tool that will analyze a track playing in real time from your system and give you the key and tempo. A little warning for engineers that work with heavier genres of music that have tempo changes: you have to watch closely since the information changes in real time. But the amount of hours saved since getting this plugin makes it a no-brainer. And the next one from the same company really came in handy during the pandemic. I had session work that needed to get done, but with everyone quarantined, it was such a pain in the butt to figure out how to get the tracks recorded remotely. Sure, there were other softwares that were doing remote file transfers, but they'd cost a subscription fee. When I discovered Satellite, my mind was blown away. Anybody in any DAW could upload and download files from a digital cloud-based Satellite DAW to collaborate. But the part I couldn't believe was that it was completely free and can really help get projects done in a pinch. And this next one is probably one of the most creative plugins I've used in a long time. If you're a fan of Mick Gordon type compositions, you're really going to enjoy what this plugin is able to do. By combining OTT processing, filtering, compression, and clipping, this plugin creates in-your-face aggressive tones that will punch any listener in the face.
What?
In a desirable way, of course.
I want you to hit me as hard as you can. Mother.
Argent Compressor was created with metal and electronic artists, producer, and mixers in mind to help create destructively beautiful tones. It's the most addicting plugin I've found in some time that will be begging you to punish the tracks you put it on. And all these plugins are amazing and are sure to help anyone. But all these plugins are useless unless you create a system for success to use them within your workflow. Which is why you'll want to watch this video right here to get the most out of your projects.